needed, you hold it, you won going away. Talk a little bit about holding the lead.
Well, those 3 goal leads, the fourth goal is crucial because at 3-0, if they get one, especially early in that period, it's a brand new hockey game. And, obviously, I suspect that next door, he was probably giving it to him a little bit after the first period. They outshot 16-3 and down 3-0. So I would suspect he had something to say to them. And so we knew going into the second that there was going to be a push, and they had 2 power plays on top of that. So, once we were able to kill that second one, I thought Boyder's line came out and had a great shift, and obviously Simpson's goal made it 4-0. And then I felt that it was going to be a tough night for them to come back at 4-0.
Do you think it's one of your best efforts of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially that first period. First period might have been the best period of the year in terms of how we want to play and the identity that we've tried to build here over the last couple of years. And obviously, with the number of rookies we have on our team, it's taken some time. But I thought from an offensive perspective, we were doing a lot of the things that our team has grown to do here in the last couple of years. So that was nice to see, and obviously getting the goals as well. And whenever you put a 6 spot up, normally you're getting contributions from several lines. We did put a 6 spot up in Rochester, but Borky had 5 points, so that line did all the damage. But tonight it was a little bit spread out, which was great to see.
5 out of 7, I think, now for you guys. It's just a matter of the rookies and the younger players sort of understanding the systems and knowing where to be on the ice. And I'm sure getting the 2 goalies back also helped.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if any coaching staff in the American League or the NHL could survive long term without both goalies. And just can imagine Lehigh taking line out of the mix as well as Stolarz. It's just it's very difficult to survive. And we did it for 4+ weeks. And now we've got Copley back, and there's obviously a sense of confidence within the room as well. But on top of that, we start the year with 4 rookie defensemen, so that's never great when you don't have your goaltending. So I think our young D, Siegenthaler and Johansson, even Hobbs, who's out now, have grown and gotten better every week, and that's huge for us on the back end, especially with no veteran presence back there or no quarterback. As most teams like a Brennan and a Snesser and these type of defensemen. So and the guys like Bo are just slowly getting better as well. So we're not out of the woods by any means. We got back to 500, which was huge, but we're in the toughest division in the league, so there's a lot of work to be done here.
Going back to Battle, for him not to get on the score sheet for the first month of the season, now he's putting up the numbers that he was putting up overseas. How nice is that to see him contributing right now?
Well, we've talked a lot about our, lack of scoring up front and maybe not as much of a skill type of lineup as we've had here in the last 2 years. And he's one of those guys. He's got tremendous hands. The early part of the season, he was a second or 2 behind on every play. So obviously that's not happening now. So now he's feeling much more comfortable, probably within the room and within the team, its concept itself, the system play, the size of the rink. So when you start looking at all the factors he had to adjust to, that's a lot to take in. So, but the fact that he's starting to score some goals here, and he's got that big presence, that big reach, and he's playing on the 4th line, so, once we get some bodies back, maybe we can add a little bit more depth to that, and he can even do some damage 5-on-5.
Can you talk a little bit about Borky right now? Because last season, he said yesterday he couldn't ever get into a groove last season. He didn't like the way he was playing. Right now, he's playing, I think, some of the best hockey he's maybe played since he's come back. What is it right now that you see in his game that's going so well for him?
Well, I think you went to the finals 2 years ago too, and you hate to use that as a reason for not maybe being as fresh last year. I think it's a reason. You played till mid-June, and you're Borky probably would not like to admit it, but he is 31 now, and it's not easy. And same as Sill. Sill looks much faster this year on the ice than he did last year, and maybe the same type of thing. Did it take its toll on him playing till mid-June? So. But you're absolutely right. Most teams would take 60 points from a player, and that's where Borky had last year. But the year before he had 80. So, he's just found a nice groove, and he's playing some well. And defensively, he's much better. And that's what I like about Borky's game now. Is 2 years ago he had 6 or 7 empty net goals, and that's because he's on the ice at the end of games. Last year I did not use him at the end of games just because he wasn't playing as well defensively. And the other night, there's trust there in terms of him getting the empty netter. So a lot of good things are going for him, and, he's going to need to be our best player the rest of the year for us to make playoffs.
Nothing against goalies you had here start the year, but do you see a little bit more calm, composure out of, I think, Phoenix
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, if you go back to even last year, when we got him at the trade deadline, there was a number of players that weren't familiar with Phoenix Copley because they weren't part of the organization. And to see what he was able to do for our team last year at the trade deadline and then all of a sudden you don't have him for 4 weeks. There's certainly a calm presence back there. And Copley, much like a lot of number one goalies, they cover up mistakes. And when you've got 3 rookie D in the lineup, as we did tonight with Bendulis, there's going to be mistakes, and he is there for us right now. And looking forward to getting Vitek back in the fold as well. And he's coming off 2 pretty good games down South Carolina, so we'll get him back in the mix here as well. And I'm hoping those guys will be a big part of our season this year because of the youth on the back end.
First month for rookie defenseman this league can come back. It's been an adventure. What have you seen from Lucas Johansson?
A lot of confidence, I think from a defensive perspective, there's still a lot of room to grow. He's only 19 years old, so there's, there are some areas defensively. Sometimes he loses those one-on-one battles, but as he grows and gets stronger and matures, that'll come. But from an offensive perspective, he's showing some things that we've seen from Juice here the last couple of years. With some poise with the puck, and with Hobbs out now, he's anchoring that first power play unit as a 19-year-old. So he's a first-round pick for a reason, and at some point he's going to play for the Washington Capitals. But we'll continue to grow his game here, and I think he's just a couple early struggles, but it's 6 weeks into the season now. He's really come a long way.
You've already won the week, but the week's still not over. How do you make sure the foot stays on the gas pedal here going into it?
Well, my message to the team here was before the game was 2 things. One, if we win tonight, we win the week. But 2, we get ourselves back to 500 after like a 1-5-1 start. So that's 2 things we've accomplished. But the division's way too tight, and there's too many good teams in our division just to think that it's going to be okay now. We've still got pushes to make, and we've had our slow start, and we're not going to be able to have too many of those over the course of the next 4 or 5 months because there's just too many good teams in our division, and we got Wilkes-Barre coming in tomorrow. So a lot of divisional play, and as I told the guys this morning as well, like the point, the standings can fluctuate so much with so much divisional play, and that's what we're up against here moving forward.
Looking back, what goes through a coach's mind when you start the season like that, 1-5-1, and look at this division, look at the struggles, ahead? What goes through your mind?
Well, a lot of frustration because you go into the season, you understand where your roster's at, you know that there's going to be a lot of youth on the back end, but in July you're thinking, okay, our goaltending tandem is going to be able to kind of get us out of that first 3-4 weeks and the growing pains as a team that maybe we don't start 10-2, but we kind of weather the storm with the youth and the defense, but then you use your goaltending. So we just started to stay positive with the guys, and like I've done my whole head coaching career here, is we go on a week-to-week basis, and let's not worry about next week when we play at home Wednesday. Let's really focus on winning the week, and it's amazing once you start doing that how the points add up, and that's what we did from right after the start as well, and we'll continue to do that. Awesome. Thanks. See you tomorrow.